Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soul and Story, where Christian writers of all walks and levels find faith rooted encouragement and a strong foundation in the craft of storytelling. I'm Sara R. Turnquist, multi published clean/Christian historical romance author, and we are so glad that you have joined us today.
Yes, very much so. I am aspiring author. I almost said actress. No, um,
Ah,
aspiring author Cindy Smith. Welcome to Soul and Story. So we are just excited that you're here as a writer, or anyone who's just passionate about their faith. You are in the right spot. So welcome, and Happy New Year. We're a little today's topic. We're a little behind the time, but we're just really excited to be back for another year. And we are really excited to kind of talk about our planning retreat that we had back in January and all the goals and stuff that we set. So, yeah.
Yeah, as Cindy said, the year, and as you very well know, as you're listening to this, 2026 has already started. We had, all transparency, we had intended to record this episode for January, but it just didn't happen. And that's okay
Mhm.
because the things we're going to talk about are still relevant to where you are right now, maybe even more relevant now than they would have been in early January. I don't know. God's timing is perfect. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
But I know that some of you are no doubt finding the flaws with New Year's resolutions. They can be ambitious, overwhelming, and pretty easily cast aside when things don't turn out the way and you don't become a very completely different you on January 1st like you had hoped and dreamed and planned. All the good intentions of what you wanted to accomplish this year, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But I have always loved framing this idea of New Year's resolution more as goal setting, the idea of laying out what I intend to accomplish this year. It having goals of some sort, whether you call it a resolution or not, it gives us something to work toward and a way to measure what we've accomplished. It seems to me that if you don't have goals that you're working toward, how do you know what you're actually doing? Are
Yeah.
you just running in place?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I stopped making resolutions back in the 90s because I just would
yeah.
not stick to them. I resolved to, and then they're just so
Mhm.
ambiguous. They're just, you don't know, like, what does that mean? How do you measure what, like you said, how do you measure what you wanted to accomplish? And so I didn't even really make plans. I've not been a planner. I haven't set goals. But this year's different. And I'm finally learning how to set goals and how to break projects down. And um, so this is like the first year I've really sat down and thought about what do I want to achieve this year? And then made a plan. I'm starting to make a plan for how I want to reach that because for the last 2 years, I've wanted to finish my novel. And I'm just like, that's my goal for this year. I'm going to finish my novel and
Yay.
get in its way. No, but like last year for 2025, my goal was to finish the novel and things just got in the way. But this year, setting goals, I'm like, oh, I can achieve this. This is achievable.
Yeah. It's it's hard because inevitably there are some and maybe most people who can end up struggling with shame and guilt whenever goals aren't met, like you not getting your book done before now. Sometimes that breeds that disappointment. I like that saying that goes that where your expectation is and where reality is, this gap here breeds disappointment.
Yeah.
And I think that's so true. We're all hopeful and dreamy at the beginning of the year. Maybe that's why I like slower changes. They completely annoy me with how long it can take to get a routine to stick, but that's just reality. Studies prove that changing one or two things at once is the most you should do if you want to build a sustainable habit or routine. And those habits and routines, if you have goals, you build the habits and routines to help you achieve that goal so they actually are headed somewhere,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That totally makes sense. I think one of the reasons in the past that I have been afraid to make goals and stuff is because I can fall into like legalism. And so, like, if
Mm,
I don't get my goals, if I don't, the things that I want to accomplish within a week, if I don't get those done, then I'm a failure. So I might as well quit. Or I beat myself up, like you said, like, oh man, I got to work harder. So the stuff I didn't
mhm.
get done last week, I need to get that done, plus the stuff I planned for this week. And that's not really wise. That's not what God wants for us. He doesn't want me doing that. And so,
Right.
like if I don't get something done, then maybe I get it done tomorrow. And what I wanted to get done tomorrow moves. It's flexible. It's fluid. Goals and our planning should be fluid. Is oh yeah,
Yeah, I definitely think it helps to break it down into bite-sized pieces. There is definitely something to say, and I do believe it's important for the big vision casting for the year or the next 5 years, so that your goals this year can fall into that long vision and you can get to something that you can't get to in 3 months or a year, but it takes 5 years. But each year, each quarter, each week, each month, each day, you're doing something that moves you in that right direction. And so
I
that is breaking it down is, I think, necessary. Um, and looking at, again, this quarter, this month, this week, this day, how can I practically walk out my value based goals, right? Because we
yeah,
base our goals on what we value, what's important
absolutely,
to us.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one of the things that we need to make sure of because oh, I just lost my train of thought. Where did it go? Okay, as we're making goals too, we they're bite-sized pieces, but then also we can't let our goals. This is just a thought I had. We can't let our goals get in the way of relationships because we were meant to
Mm,
be in relationships. So I think having bite-sized goals instead of saying I have this big thing that I got to work on. It's like, well, I can work on that after I meet with my friend for coffee. Or, it doesn't seem
mhm,
so overwhelming if we have those little goals because we
mhm.
can make room for the people in our lives too.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying about these different aspects of our life that we are part of: community, friendship, relationships, marriage, kids. We have, those of us that take care of a home have that. We have our health and well-being. And so one of the tools that we have used this year is Cultivate What Matters. They have power sheets, and it does have you kind of evaluate how you're doing on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of these certain areas in your life. And I love that. So you're keeping in mind what is weak or in
Yeah.
that set of things that they want you to evaluate, and where you need to put more time this month, this week, this quarter.
Mhm.
You and I also utilize the Daily Grace Co. and Cultivate What Matters did a Christ focused goal setting book called This Is His Year,
Great.
which walked us through. It was wonderful. I would highly recommend it. It's on sale right now at cultivatewhatmatters.com. Just a plug there. I am not getting any commission from that, but go ahead.
Yep.
um, it walked us through the need to keep in mind why God has put us on this earth, and remembering the priorities that He lays out in Scripture.
Mhm.
And again, we looked at the power sheets that has a monthly tool called the tending list that puts your goals and where you're working toward, puts it into tasks that you can put in motion each month, week, and day that will feed into the larger goals. We also took a couple of courses um, through Sarah Cannon of heartbreathings.com. We did a course at the end of last year called Your Path Forward, which gives us the more longer term look. And then at the beginning of the year, I think it was the very, very end of 2025, leading into 2026, that she ran her HB90 course that breaks down your goals that you did for, you don't have to do them together, but they go together really, really well. So for those of us that made long-term goals in Your Path Forward, we can take those and break them down into quarterly goals. And I have found that planning by the quarter is super helpful for me. It's enough time to get a run at something, but not so long that you get bogged down with the whole year or 6 months worth of stuff.
Yes.
So I've chatted about these tools. What was your favorite tool that we utilized this year?
Well, I have to say,
Mhm.
first of all, Sarah, you have been an inspiration to me. I have worked for you now for 5 years, almost 6 years, I guess.
Mhm.
And I have been so inspired by how you set goals. And it's taken me 6 years to get on board with making goals, but you have inspired me. And I loved
Mhm.
Sarah Cannon's HB90. She really broke it down into how to set goals. And one of the things, I am a nerd when it comes to tech stuff. I love techie stuff.
Mm.
And I love Trello, Trello. And it's a very visual way to organize, to get scheduled. And I have had so much fun making boards with lists and color coding things. It's very visual, and I like to have it with me. I don't have the things physically around me in my workspace, but having it on my iPad, on my phone, and on my laptop has been just amazing because I can see what I have to get done
Mhm.
this week. And then I can see what I can have my check off list, which I'm loving that. I'm like, wow, look at what I've gotten done so far. That has just really kept me going.
Yeah, I love that you are techie because I am not very techie. I'm very tactile. So I have enjoyed getting into Trello again. I tried it before. It has got a lot of different features now that it didn't have a few years back when I tried it for the first time, and I am liking it. It's based on the concept of a Kanban board. For those of you that are not familiar with that, a Kanban board is a set of post it notes in a column. Traditionally, you'll have three columns: to do, doing, and done. However you label those, but you have all the things for you to do in a certain project, or it for us that quarter in that first column in post-it notes, each one on a post-it note, each task. And then you move it to the in progress or doing column, whether you're looking at your day, your week, whatever, and then you move it to the done column so you can see all the things that you accomplished and to communicate with your team the things that have been finished. Traditionally, it's used in more of a business model.
Yeah.
I think it was started by Toyota. Someone at Toyota came up with this
Yeah.
concept. But
And
however you do set goals, I think it's important to be mindful of who God calls us, me, you,
exactly.
to be, and the good works He prepared for each of us beforehand, as it says in Ephesians
Yes.
2:10. I love this perspective. It used to weigh on me like I'm not doing everything I can, but that's not who God is and what He's all about. We do good works to live out His best for us because He first loved us as a response. I'm sorry, I stepped all over you, Cindy.
Oh, no, no, no. I just want to say just a little thing about Trello. They have a Kanban template in their
Mm.
template. So if you want, anyway, but I love that verse. I love that verse because it makes me realize that what I'm doing in my daily life, He prepared before
Mhm.
the creation of the world. So, like,
Mm.
I'm not doing this by mistake. You're not doing this by mistake. Whatever God has called you to do, and you're being faithful and obedient. Um, we just did a recorded another podcast, and the lady talked about how we need to be obedient to what God's called us. Well, when we're being obedient to what He's called us to do, we can have the confidence to know
Mm.
that He has equipped us to
Mm.
carry that out. So
That's
that's just
so
really,
good. So
it's,
true.
yeah.
So
Well,
true.
everyone, ladies, is guys too, and whoever's here.
Ah,
Um, Thank you so much for being with us today. I know this is a short one, but we hope that you are encouraged to make goals. We do really recommend Sarah Cannon. She loves to help writers. Um, and there's the uh, Cultivating What
cultivate
Matters.
what matters.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we'll try to put those links in the show
show
notes
notes.
or in the description if you're on YouTube so that you
Yeah,
can find them. But in case we forget, it's cultivatewhatmatters.com. And Sarah Cannon, you can find her on YouTube at Heart Breathings, like the breathings of your heart from that quote, that writing is the breathings of your heart. I love that.
yeah.
Or you can find her at heartbreathings.com.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us, everyone. And we just hope that what we have shared, how we feel like God's working in our lives, encourages you to follow whatever God has laid on your heart. Um, Let us know. Have you made goals this year? What goals are they? What are you hoping to accomplish in 2026? Because we would love, love, love to hear from you. And we just hope that you join us again next time. And we love you, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Move.
Thank you for listening. This episode is over, but your writing journey continues. Visit saraturnquist.com to find links to help you achieve your writing dream.